support. Jumping ship. Okay, so we started out at the end, so to speak, the end of the cycles, but we're going to bring it back to legs and then go through chronological. So, you know, a bit of a cyclical effect there. It's good to have a place to return to. And so that's one of the reasons why we put that tune up front. What I'd like to do is read a segment from Legs here. And the approach I took to the songs is to try to get and this is ambitious in my opinion, try to get a bead on some of the central themes, or forgive me for the lack of a better word, thrust of the novels. And what I did is I chose parts of the novel that reflected moments that lead up to either the epiphany or to a significant change. So this is from Legs. And I'll paraphrase the first sentence here, forgive me. Jack treated the foreign press like children, laughing at the requests for a laundry visit of his victims. First off, boys, I'm not a gangster, only a bootlegger. There are no gangsters in America. Too easy to get rich other ways. I'm just a civilized citizen, not a these, them, and those guy. Just a man of the people trying to make $1. Over here getting the cure. Got some stomach trouble and I was advised to go to Vichy and Wiesbaden to take the waters. Brooklyn Arsenal? I own nothing in Brooklyn. Capone used to work for me several years ago driving a truck, but I haven't seen him in years. That feud is a lot of nonsense. I get along with people. I'm a legitimate citizen. You newspaper guys scream at the cops to pick me up and they hold me a few days and find out I'm clean and let me go. I'm not claiming you treat me wrong, but I never see anybody write big headlines when they tell me the charge don't stick. I'm sick of headlines, boys. I came to Europe to get away from it all for a while. Leave that hubbub behind. Make a kind of grand tour on my own. Take the waters and cure what ails me. You can understand that, can't you, fellows? Sure they could. Jack's fame at this point was staggering. About 400 Englishmen had come to the pier by 6:30 just to get a glimpse of him. The press of the whole Western world was following our transatlantic voyage, front-paging it with an intensity not quite up to what they did for Byrd, Peary, or other world travelers, but I'll bet with more reader interest. One English paper was so anxious for a story that it invented a phone interview with Jack 2 days before our boat reached an English pier. I'm in here in London on a secret mission, they quoted him as saying. So the newsmen, installing Jack in the same hierarchy where they placed royalty, heroes, and movie stars, created him anew as they enshrined him. They invented a version of him with each story they wrote, added to his evil luster by imagining his crimes for him to commit, embellishing his history, humanizing him, defining him through their own fantasies and projections. This voyage had the effect of taking Jack Diamond away from himself, of making him a product of the collective imagination. Jack had imagined his fame all his life, and now it was imagining him. A year hence, he would be saying that publicity helps the punk, to another set of newsmen, aware of how pernicious a commodity it could be. But now he was an addict, a grotesquely needy man, parched for glory, famished for public love, dying for the chance at last to be everybody's wicked pet. And this tune is simply titled Jack. Y'all want to join? Breathe at the age of 33. Buckshot for the pigeon, the rise always need. The cash upon the barrel, still the scarlet way you need. The wolf that lives is the one you choose to feed. is cheap, so let's all misbehave until the trumpet sings the crown of king from a knave. Cordelia's in the kitchen cooking up something sweet. Beyondo's in the barn, the goose just flew away. And every damn word is true. If the truth you read, you never knew. Come to speak easy now. You can't crush a diamond, but you can cut it down. Bloodlust to bail, the law will tuck its tail. This judge can't be bought, but the jury will prevail. Apple-vested lawyers singing songs of the street, and none is in the annex with a story to tell. Every spoken word is true. If what you see on the screen, you never know. Time's come to live on this now. You can't crush a diamond, but you can cut it down. Cut it down. Skin and bones in a double-breasted suit. Always a rose of carnation just won't do. Dance with me, ladies, it's a one and a two. And three for the waltz and scuffed pairs of shoes. Clothes upon the floor, quiet on the street. Party's all behind, shoes are off the feet. The search for tomorrow had today upon its knees. And then the giddiness arrived to send me on to sleep. The giddiness arrived to send me on to sleep. The giddiness arrived to send me off to sleep. I'm already breaking from the schedule here, as you probably figured out and knew right off the bat. So let me take a step back. One of the things I've noticed about, or through reading these novels, is the presence of music, which is clearly an important element to me. But what I wanted to do is arrange a period piece. And so the chosen piece is one that also appears in Legs, and it's Ain't Misbehavin'. Fats Waller tune. So Larry and I are going to play that song for you right now. Larry, you played great. I'm so disappointed I'm on video for that one. Oh, I shouldn't take this down. In addition to actually writing songs, there were pieces of music, straight music, that were also inspired by the novels. And as a segue or an interlude into Billy Phelan's Greatest Game, wrote a piece called The Three-Legged Samovar. And I'm not sure if the samovar was three-legged, but it had a broken leg, and so I just imagined it was three-legged because 4 is pretty sturdy. But there's a scene in which Martin Doherty visits a political organizer, and if I recall correctly, his name is Jake. But they have a conversation, and Martin is fixated for one reason or another on this samovar. Maybe it's the objective correlative in literary terms. This is a book group, right? You know that. But perhaps the samovar stands for a greater meaning, and the fact that it's wobbly or missing a leg is part of that meaning. But the conversation that transpires between Jake and Martin, in my opinion, is relevant and related to, again, that central theme of the novel for Billy Phelan's Greatest Game, which is, or in part, the relationship between the older generation and the younger generation, and specifically the relationship between fathers and sons. And so Martin has his own issues with his son, and Jake has some pretty serious issues with his son, and you'll hear some of that in the selection I'll read. But the Three-Legged Samovar is a musical piece inspired by that short scene.
Ooh.